one is in the books. Week 2 is coming up here on Friday, and the Evergreen Park Mustang football team is 1-0, and the head coach, Jim Ramazinski, is back with us here on the EP podcast. How are you, Coach Ram?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Look, you got to win right off the bat. We talked about it. The Ag School, they faced you now a couple times here to kick off a season. Last year, their only loss was to the Mustangs. They were probably hyped up for this game. You take it 17-6. But how did the game go for you?
It was a up and down battle throughout. We knew that Ag is a pretty formidable opponent. They had a lot of guys back from last year, and a lot of those guys, similar to our team, have been on varsity since their sophomore year and have been contributors since then. So knowing that they were coming back, they have some really good athletes. Pat Aid, like I said last week, their coach did a great job with them, having them prepared for the first game of the season, and they gave us a battle. We made a lot of mistakes, especially in the first half, that set us back and put us in a position where we had to really perform in the second half. Guys stepped up, did a good job. And then, of course, when it all ends, you talk to the team about, hey, those mistakes we made in the first half, that's going to cost us games in the future. And, you're hoping, honestly, a good week 1 matchup with competitive matchup, putting in real game situations that, if they go the other way, you don't know how the game goes. It's a lot of valuable experience in week 1, and we were happy to get a win, but we know there's a lot of improvement.
The NFL gets preseason, and you don't get preseason in high school football, and you see in NFL preseason games, pros that are in new roles or on new teams almost not know the procedure on the sideline. You get miscommunications, things like that. You have a lot of returning players, but you've got guys in different roles, and you've got players that are new on the varsity. Is that one of the things you run into game 1 every year?
Week 1 is always, I think, maybe the hardest week. Just because, there's a lot of reasons. One, the game day mechanics that you're talking about. You haven't done them when the pressure's on yet. So, you're going to have issues with that more than likely. We felt like we were very prepared, but again, things happen week 1, high school kids out there, a lot of distractions, a lot of things going on at the field. So I was disappointed in some things that we did, but also saw how we responded in the second half. And, as a coach, week 1's always kind of tense because you can think what your team looks like, but you really don't know until they get out there and play another team. And now everybody is doing the same thing across the state. They're seeing what they have, what they did, what they can do better, and that's where this all comes into play week to week, the progressions that we always talk about.
Talk about procedures, progressions. I got one right now. This episode of the EP podcast, and every episode brought to you by OSF Healthcare and Little Company of Mary Medical Center. Your health, happiness, and well-being at the heart of everything they do. Count on OSF to provide the care, comfort, and support you need, focused on you every step of the way. With access to technologically advanced healthcare solutions, OSF Healthcare combines innovative treatments with compassionate care to help you achieve your best possible health. OSF Healthcare, OSF Little Company of Mary Medical Center. See more at osfhealthcare.org. The most recent episode of the EP podcast that came out just a few days ago, the regular one that comes out on Tuesdays, had your principal, Matt Dugan, on there talking about the school year. And if you've missed that episode, folks, go back and check it out because it's really interesting, some of the stuff that's going on over at the high school outside of the football program. But off the air, and he may have even mentioned it on the podcast, he's excited about your team this year. He's kind of pumped up for the season. He's a fan for sure of what's going on with the Mustangs. And then he was also telling me that the playoffs have changed a little bit. That I know we talked about afterwards. He was telling me it changed. And I was like, how did I miss this? So I feel bad I didn't ask about it last week. What's different this year? Even though I know we're at the beginning of the season, but what's different this year?
Yeah, there's a lot of changes to the playoffs. And just Mr. Dugan is a good fan of the program. And he's a really good fan of our athletic department. We appreciate, his support, but it's it's cool because he's genuine about it. Like
he's pumped.
He wants.
He's excited about it.
Not that people aren't, but he really he knows the players on the teams. He knows what position they're playing. Things like that.
He walked in the door, and the first thing he said was, "I watched the show with Coach Ram. I'm excited about the team." I don't even think he said hello until after that. He's ready to talk about it.
He's ready to go. And with the playoffs this year, it's different because they've expanded the playoffs. So now, there more teams are going to get in, which allows, different teams with different. It used to be the mark was always 5 and 4 will get you in for the most part. On a weird year, maybe not. And then some years you would get some 4 and 5 teams in the playoffs. Like last year, I know we were 4 and 5, and we were.
I remember you thinking there was a shot.
There was. I mean, it was an outside shot that we would still make it, and obviously the numbers didn't fall in that direction. But it was like I was sitting there on playoff Saturday, for the pairing show. A little bit before the show, I kind of figured with seeing results that we weren't going to get in, but I still watched it, not 100% knowing.
Right.
And this year with the expansion, there'll be more teams getting in with, those records, 4 and 5, even 3 and 6. And then if you're a 9-0, 8-1 team, the way it should work is you'll get a bye for the playoffs.
Okay. So the better teams are going to get byes.
Yes.
But more teams will make it in format-wise. Which now means that you can look at your schedule, and I'm not going to say that playoffs are assured for all teams, because there's definitely teams that aren't going to make it into the postseason.
There'll be some teams that don't make it.
But your chances have improved to be able to get into the postseason. And so do you not only prepare for each individual game, but are you also trying to build throughout the season so that when you make it to the end, you're at your best, because the odds are even greater that you're going to have bonus games after the schedule is over?
We've talked about this before. We have a small team. Okay. So we have to prepare I cross-train a lot of guys in different positions, different roles, different things, and as a team, we have to work on that weekly. We have to continue to find new ways to do things, because our roster size is limited. So that is what we do every week, is trying to progress to put out the best team for that week. And then obviously every coach is thinking about the future a little bit. We're pretty regimented people. We're focused on the next task. But at the same time, when we meet as coaches over the weekend, these are things that we talk about. What are we going to do this week to help us not only for this next game, but for a game 3 weeks from now, for a game, down in week 9 when we know we're going to have a couple guys possibly injured.
It's a developmental thing.
Yeah.
Because in my head, as you're giving an answer to that question, I think to myself, because I do this White Sox podcast called Sox in the Basement, and this is a season where you didn't expect them to be what they are, and now they're in a pennant race. And they're trying to win their division. And you got Will Venable, who's a coach, and he's got a bunch of young guys. And on one hand, he's trying to win each game, win each series, and keep his eye on the prize in a season he didn't expect. But also, there's development. These guys in May are different players, some of them who are rookies who just came up, than what they are in August and what they're going to be in a year or two. So you have to keep an eye on developing long term. What are you going to be at the end of the year, while still trying to win in June and July? And I feel like that's probably the same thing with a high school team like yours here in Illinois, especially with this format.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, the number one priority is always the game on Friday night. But with that being said, we are intentional with how we look at our players and look at our schemes and look at things that we will have down the road. Because if we don't think about it now, we can't be starting to think about it on Monday of a game week, because it's already too late. Like it's already too late. And it's an ongoing process, just like anything. I mean, just this past week's meeting, we're looking at our players, a couple of us defensive coaches, and we're like, we're going to try this guy here. We're going to try this guy here. We're going to move some guys around. We're going to get this guy more reps here. We're going to take away some reps from this player because we know he knows what he's doing and we want him to get more rest. I mean, that's all, it's a lot more thinking than maybe a lot of people would perceive.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of strategy and a lot of intentional movements to what we do.
Your first game of the year was at home.
Mm-hmm.
Your second game is at home. You got Longwood coming to town. What was the crowd like before we get into Longwood? First game back for the students and the fans.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was beach night, I think, at so people dressed up in beach gear, the students. Good crowd there on Friday night, and a beautiful night. Like, we thought it was going to rain, and it ended up not raining. It was a lot of fun. And again, we had a good competitive matchup up there for the fans to watch. And there's nothing that beats Friday nights. I mean, the reality of it, it's why a guy like me is still doing things like this. Despite the time, effort, all that. I mean, it's all worth it in the end when you get out there and you get to experience this with your team.
Looks like 6 p.m. on Friday night. At least that's what Max Preps is telling me.
I believe it's actually 7 p.m.
Okay, so 7 p.m. Friday night.
Max Preps, I'll look at that.
Sometimes they're off.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. I mean, you can't complain because if you didn't have them, I wouldn't be able to follow the team as closely as I do. But sometimes it's a little bit off. But it's a home game against Longwood. You faced them previously in previous years. Tell me what to expect from this game.
Again, we're treating this year, we talk about it at practice all the time. We're worried about ourselves. We're worried about the things that we do. So just like any week, we're going to continue to find things that are going to help our team at practice, continue to push our guys to work as hard as they can, but also, strategize for Longwood and continue to refine our lineups and our positions.
All right. Longwood's this Friday night. Coach Ram and the Mustangs going for 2-0. That would be a great start to the season. Mm-hmm. That just adds to positivity in the building and on practice and everything like that. Gets you off on a great foot. Before I let you go, anything else you want me to get to here? You got
just want to highlight a
players that did a great job in the game. I feel like we missed that as we moved on to the next game. So it hit me as I was saying goodbye. Like, we didn't talk about any of these guys.
No, I mean, we defensively we played well. Gave up one touchdown later in the game. But really, I was impressed with the defense, but I'm also impressed with how they came back to practice on Monday, because they're a group that seems to understand what it actually takes. And despite playing well, not giving up a ton of yards,
only giving up 6 points,
getting some key stops and key situations, they recognize that they need to make improvements. And Esau Ruvaklava comes to mind. He had 13 tackles and a tackle for a loss on Friday night. He played a really good game. And I could tell, as one of our linebackers, one of our leaders on the defense, he's pushing his guys around him to understand that. Guys like Garrett Kazmirowicz, who comes up with a big sack for us, pushing his teammates to be better. LaRue Hood gets an interception. Jalen Chautham, bunch of tackles, manning the middle of the field. Well, these guys they're focused. And offensively, we had some struggles, but scored when we needed to. Yeah. And Corey Isaac had a rushing touchdown. Cole Nardo helped out with a field goal for us. And Tyler Phelps catches a nice long touchdown pass in the fourth quarter from Brady Bruin to seal the game. And we have to work on it as a team doing this all 4 quarters. I said one of our goals was to start the games fast, and we didn't accomplish that our first game. So this is something, again, that we are going to push, stress, and work on at practice.
Awesome. Can't wait to see what happens here in week 2. And kind of excited about what you just said there about your defense. Like, they had a good game. They showed up saying, yeah, we're not done. We got to continue to improve. We got to continue to push. Offense is exciting, but defense wins championships. You know that, Coach. Like,
yes.
Defense is the key to everything in the end. Your offense can have an off night, but if those guys are out there stopping people, it changes the entire complexion of the game. So that's exciting to hear.
Yeah, we're just excited because the whole team seems to be working together well, and that needs to continue, because when you work well together, you like each other, good things happen, you continue to get better.
Friday night, Longwood at home. Get out there and see the Evergreen Park Mustang football team. Coach Ram, good luck to you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.